Hi gang, it's Mr. Bestor this morning. I'd like to say good morning to all of you on this incredible Friday. Although the temperature has dropped, it's gotten a little chillier, it's still beautiful if you're tucked out of the wind. I happen to have stumbled upon a patch of wild ramps, as they're known. And as you can see here, they're green leafy organisms that grow from the forest floor, and they happen to grow early in the springtime. And the reason I bring them to your attention, if you don't already know about them, is because they're harvestable and such that they become edible as well. Now, they're a unique resource because they're so rare in some instances, even though I found a plentiful patch. They're part of the allium family, which includes garlics, onions, and wild leeks is another one. So they're fascinating that way. And I'm going to show you how we can dig up a couple of them. I'll teach you a little bit what to do with them. But the bottom line I want you to understand is that they're an onion garlic mix. It's a fantastic blend. Those of us that love the taste of garlic mixed with onion, it's a very gentle, outstanding flavor. You can add to lots of different foods, and it's a lot of fun. In fact, one of the things we can do is we can take a leaf, and a great way to do it is just take the leaf, and you can eat just the leaf itself. And as I do that, instantly, I've got a fantastic garlic and onion flavor. Sorry for talking with my mouth full, but it's fantastic. They're a bulb, and those of you that have ever seen a garden onion, they'll look very, very familiar. They've got 1, 2, or 3 green leaves that come off of the shoot from the bulb. I'm gonna pull one up for you here in just a moment. So let's take a look. Here. And once I pop them free from the soil, I'll then go ahead and pull them out for you. And Bo's my cameraman this morning, and Bo, if you can come get a look at these bulbs, and they'll look very familiar to those of us that garden and harvest green onions or garden onions. And you can see, but the entire plant is edible, starting with the leaves all the way down to these absolutely gorgeous stems, that reddish color, and to the white bulbs themselves. You'll clean them off, of course, and once you get them cleaned off, you end up removing the last of the roots. But these are a root vegetable, like many of ours, and they're fantastic. And as I mentioned, you can eat the green leaves. You can just add them to anything. The closer you get to the tips of the green leaves, the more garlicky they are. As you make your way down to the stems, you'll get a stronger onion flavor, and then very much the bulb itself is an onion flavor. So a fantastic discovery in Wisconsin, South Wisconsin's or South Central Wisconsin's forest, particularly in early spring. I want to make mention of one other thought though about these. If you happen to stumble across a patch of them in a woods that's near you, you have to be a little bit careful because their life cycle is fascinating. So these green leaves will shoot through the leafy forest floor in early spring. Eventually the leaves open up, unfurl themselves, show themselves, and that's how we discover them, as they kind of stand out in the forest floor. And then what happens is by June, these leaves will all die off. They'll get covered up by the canopy that grows above, and the leaves will die off. And sometime in mid-June, a flower will sprout up. It will seed, and then sometime in fall or late summer, that seed will fall back to the forest floor. It'll germinate, and it'll eventually start to grow. So their cycle is unique that way. But in order to get a bulb of this size, this is the fascinating fact. It's 5 to 7 years. Not weeks, not months, 5 to 7 years. So can you imagine planting anything in your garden that you planted it and then harvested it 7 years later to a point where you could eat it? That's the problem. They're very slow growing. So you have to leave a lot of them around. As Bo pans back, go ahead, take the camera back. You'll see I'm in a very large patch of them right now. If I came in and I took them all, this patch would just be gone. So to sustain them, I like to take, if I want to have a bunch, I'll take the leaves, which doesn't impact the bulb, especially later on here in May. I'll take leaves off of it, which taste great themselves. and I'll leave most of the bulbs. You heard me, I said leave most of the bulbs. Yeah, you leave most of the bulbs so that they can sustain themselves, and they'll grow more from the rhizomes from these bulbs, as well as the seeds that are produced in the flowers that come and showcase themselves in mid to late summer. So these are our wild ramps. Sometimes people argue about if they're leeks or if they're ramps, but they're in the allium family. They're fascinating. They smell fantastic for those of you that love garlic and onion, and it's something from the outdoors to share on this particular outdoor adventure. So as we move into what will be our last 2 weeks starting next week, be prepared for more as things change around us in our great outdoors. As we miss you, we continue to miss you. We can't wait to see you sometime in the near future. Have a great weekend, everybody. From Mr. Bestor and my cameraman, Bo Bestor, wishing you the best on this particular Friday. Take care, everybody.